relevant to the audience. So yesterday, when Butch and I were talking about this presentation and comedy, he threw down the gauntlet. He said, okay, Mark, funny guy, I want you to come in and I want you to tell a funny story that's going to be about inbound marketing and relevant to this exceptional group of marketers and technologists that we've been able to attract. And so I went to Burger Bar, Union Square last night, spent an hour, 4 or 5 years later. This is what I've come up with. So bear with me here for a second. It's actually a true story. So as Butch indicated before, I run a company called Strategic Communications Group. We are a sales enablement content marketing consultancy that works with technology, software, telecommunications, financial services, and healthcare companies, basically helping them find, nurture, cultivate, and close more sales opportunities. Really compelling ROI, right? In this job, in this role, I have an opportunity to go out and talk to a lot of different organizations, a lot of different corporate marketing teams about what they're doing with social and what they're doing with digital. And I've got a very small company, it's about 30 employees, so I'm always out there hunting around looking for new clients. So a couple of months ago, I get contacted by a very hot prospective client. It's a global technology company. I can't tell you who it is. I'll tell you their 2 initials, H and D. I can't tell you who it is. So they contact me and they say, you know, Mark, we hear you guys are doing some interesting stuff with content and social. We've got our corporate social team that's going to be in the Washington, D.C. area. We want you to come out and talk to them for a few minutes. And I said, all right, well, that sounds good. So I drive out to this office in Herman, Virginia, and I get ushered in to this corporate conference room. And we've all been in those rooms before. It's kind of like the white room with one long table. And so I'm sitting there by myself, and I'm like, all right, well, I can take a seat at the table. And then 2 minutes later, 6 people, the corporate social media team comes in. And they all walk in, and of course, they sit all the way down to the other end of the table, for some reason. And they're looking at me, and I'm looking at them. And so it's kind of that uncomfortable silence. And so I know, because I've been a consultant for 20 years, and what they teach you as a consultant is, just don't dive into your sales pitch, right? You gotta warm it up a little bit. You gotta understand what their needs are. And then you gotta relate your service offering to their needs. So I start by saying, down at this end of the table, you know, hey, before I go into what Strategic does, tell me a little bit about what HP's expectations are from content and social media. And down at this end of the table, everyone looks at the woman who's sitting at the end of the table. It's like she's a senior level person. So nobody says anything and they're waiting for her. And her answer to that question, oh boy, talk about a true visionary, a true thought leader. Her answer to that question was so insightful that I wrote it down and I carry this piece of paper with me wherever I go. In fact, let's see, I got it right here. So, this is what she answers to this question. Give me a second. Very insightful. So, what does corporate social media and content mean for this company? And her answer is, and I'm going to quote, for us, social media and content creation is about building mutually beneficial and collaborative relationships with key audiences across the value chain, and then inspiring them to serve as brand advocates to extend our message reach into new growth-oriented domains. So she says that, and then everyone looks back at me at this end of the table. So I got to come up with an answer to that, right? It's my turn to talk. And I'm thinking, wait a second. I got a 30-person consulting firm. HP, it's a big contract opportunity, right? Hundreds of thousands of dollars of fees. I got 2 kids, a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old. I don't know what college is going to cost in about 10 years, but maybe $17 million, right? So I'm thinking, okay, here's my chance to really wow them. So all these thoughts are going through my head, and I have what I like to call that Jerry Maguire moment. Does everyone remember that movie? You remember that start of the movie with Tom Cruise, they go on that corporate offsite, and he's up all night, he's writing that mission statement, right? Redefining representation of sports agents, right? And he goes to the copier room in the middle of the night, and there's a guy with a long ponytail, and he makes all those copies, and the guy says, man, this is really putting yourself out there. Well, I have that thought, that feeling, that moment. Confidence swells up, and they're looking at me, and what comes out of my mouth is, what the hell are you talking about? And I think everyone in this room will be shocked to learn that to this day, 6 months later, I have never done $1 of business with HP. I have no idea what that meant. It's not that their answer was a bad thing. What it points to is that for many organizations, content, digital participation, social media is a branding vehicle. It's not a bad thing. But wait a second, is there something that's more? And that's something, if you look at what inbound marketing is all about, it's about elevating what it is that we do from reputation and awareness and credibility to something that is meaningful and measurable to the bottom line, and that's simply revenue capture. So what Butch and I are going to talk about for a few minutes is a couple of really tactical things. We're not going to go visionary, we're not going to go 20,000 feet, we're not going to go 3 years down the road, I'm not going to talk about big data or machines, doing that kind of stuff. We're going to talk about things that each of us in this room can do tomorrow to bring a higher level of accountability to the marketing and content programs that you're putting in place for your company. That's my story. All right.